Welcome back to Tool World. Thanks for jumping back in. This is Mr. Jew, and I'm here with Master Jew.
How are you doing today, David?
I'm doing good.
Mr. Jew?
So, today I thought we'd talk about the different types of waves. We got 3 of them.
Well, you have sine wave, you have horizontal wave, and you have sawtooth wave. So there are 3 different ways of moving the body as we move forward. And they are performed differently. What's also interesting is that they are also kind of related to the way we step.
Mm-hmm.
But a large part of it is really the knee movement as we move forward in the motion.
So let's take a look at sine wave and how much the knee should be bent. It's going to be bent about 30 degrees in between the movements. Now if you look at a sawtooth wave, you're going to be basically straightening it out. So it's going to be about 180 degrees. And then horizontal wave, you want to stay really low. So that's going to be more like 90 degrees, almost like a right angle. The second component of the waves relates to the stepping. And how might that be?
Well, you have different types of stepping. Obviously, there's straight stepping, where the feet just go straight forward. They stay in the same line. And that can cause kind of that horizontal wave, very much like you see in karate's patterns or the katas, right? You see a lot of that. You're not moving up and down, just straight line. But the only way you can really achieve that straight line is to maintain a certain knee bend, certain bend of the knee, to make sure it's horizontal, but the feet is moving forward. And then you also have the in-out stepping. There's also out-in stepping, but for our purpose right now, we'll talk about the in-out stepping, which the foot would go in about half the distance of the stance and then back out. And if you look at the diagram on the floor, it will look like a sine wave, but it also helps us with our sine wave as we move forward. As you said, 30 degrees as we go up and down. And the third one is zigzag stepping, where the foot goes to the other foot and goes back out. Now that, if you look at the floor diagram on that would look something similar to a zigzag wave, right? But again, it comes down to that knee action. So in other words, if I did the zigzag stepping where I step in foot to foot and I don't extend my leg all the way up, it could still look like a sine wave. In other words, if I put my foot in and then bend at about 30 degrees and then step out, your up and down movement or the sine wave would still be there, but the foot position or the way you step is more like a sawtooth wave if you look at the way the foot would diagram on the floor. So why not do it foot to foot like the sawtooth wave? Why not do that? We do see that, and a lot of students do that, where they extend the leg straight up.
Right. Straightening out the leg would violate one of the training secrets of Taekwondo, where you want to keep your elbows and knees slightly bent. By straightening it out, you're probably going to lose your momentum force a little bit.
Right, I totally agree with that. So basically when you straighten that leg out, it's almost like a pause. It's not flowing, right? Once in motion, it should just continuously be moving. So when you straighten that leg up, the leg kind of stops for a second and then goes to the next position. So the knee bend in the sine wave is kind of important in order to do that. So you can do in-out stepping. It doesn't have to go foot to foot, but if you bring that leg all the way up, you're creating that sawtooth wave. So it's kind of interesting because sometimes people say, what is this sine wave? Really, I think it's just a natural way that we move, and it's a way to explain how we should move, as opposed to being too choppy, right? I think all body mechanics have sine wave, regardless of what sport you're talking about. If you're throwing a baseball, you go down, up, down. Do you extend that leg all the way up and then throw the ball? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe some people do, which would be what we describe as sawtooth wave. Is it easy to maintain that horizontal? I think that's really hard. It doesn't feel natural. We don't walk like that. And obviously we don't walk where we stand straight up and down, except for maybe like a wedding march.
So if you think about it, the 30 degrees bent on the knee
It's
is really
it's what causes sine wave,
right.
right?
It's not that much.
No, it's not. And so if you think about that, when you do it too much, the knee is bent more than 30 degrees, and that really down, up, down is really too much. So I've always kind of thought sine wave is fairly subtle. What do you think about this idea about sine wave? Obviously, it's a big topic about how we perform our techniques in the patterns, specifically in the patterns. You never talk about that in sparring, do you?
No, not
Not
really.
really, but definitely in the patterns, right?
Let us know your thoughts. Thanks for jumping into another Tool World podcast. Don't forget to check out our Tool World Plus program.
Right? Get a little bit extra content, see some demonstrations, as opposed to us talking.
We'll see you guys next week. Don't forget to be safe
Keep training.
and have a great week.
Tech One.